Rhino, is that you? There, I think I got it. Okay, so now, Tracy, are you there?
I am.
Tracy, this is AML headquarters calling. Is this Tracy Boyd?
This is she.
Is this the official flight attendant of the AML network?
It is.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. Let's get serious right off the bat. So you are a flight attendant, and a lot of times during the day, do you fly like just once, or do you fly 2 or 3 times?
Anywhere from once to 6. 1 time to 6. 6 is our max.
6? Holy mackerel.
6 legs, yeah. I don't do 6 legs unless scheduling tells me I have to.
All right. So what is your average? Like 3? Just for argument's sake, is 3 a fair? 3?
3.
Okay. So how many times? And I want you to be honest with me here. I want you to be honest with the AML audience. How many times a day? And I'm going to take a guess first. But how many times a day would you say that people will be getting on the plane, or they'll be on the plane? You'll be going up and down the aisle, and they'll say, "Hey, aren't you the official flight attendant of the AML network?" I'm going to guess that happens 5 times a day.
20.
Just
let me back up. It used to be 20.
Oh, yeah, right, because there's nobody on the plane now.
Correct.
That's why we're talking to you. So what I started doing is I'm calling this Was Happenin. Was Happenin. Do you remember that from like the 70s and the 80s? There was like, it was happening, man. It was happening.
I do.
Yeah, if you were cool, that's what you said. Hey, what's happening? What's happening, man? Are you getting tired of me saying it yet?
No.
So I've been talking to people because I'm going to try as much as I can to put podcasts on almost every day so that people have something to listen to, because people were so excited about the Hug It Out episode that I saw that you posted on the fans page that you were appreciative of it.
I was. And thank you so much for doing it. It really helps.
Really, eh? That's cool. Lots of people have said that to me. So then I thought, well, it's not easy to get a bunch of people together every day, but I thought, you know what? I can talk to individuals that are regularly talked about on the show, or they're regular. So I've talked to Chris Adams, Mr. Fitness. He's the guy. And the whole interview, he did the whole interview standing with his hands on his hips in just underwear, looking off to the side. I was like, and he kept wanting to turn the camera on, and I'm like, Chris, turn your camera off, buddy. So I don't know what that was all about. And we've talked to Tony Cook, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Jacobs. I'm going to talk to everybody as much as I can, and we'll just do these like it'll range anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or whatever, however talkative people are. When I talked to Tony, he wasn't as talkative as Chris was, but he was busy working on the magazine because they found out they're still printing the magazine.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to talk to you is because you are Tracy Boyd, the official flight attendant of the AML network. And I know for a fact, I've been checking all the flights, and I've seen that you've been posting that you're out there flying during all this craziness.
I am, which is actually opposite of the way I normally operate.
Okay, and how do you mean? Like, or opposite how? Like, if it was crazy, you'd stay out of the fray?
Well, no, it's crazy in a whole different kind of way. But normally, I just work my line. Sometimes not even that much, and then I'm always off doing something else.
Yeah, I know.
But now there's nothing else for me to do except for work. So I don't go home. So all I'm doing is working.
Okay, now what is a line? See, that sounds like flying talk to me.
A schedule, whatever I'm scheduled for the month.
Why do they call it a line?
I don't know where they come up with the terminology. I just go with it. And it took me a while to learn it. And now unless you you can immediately talk to somebody in the airline industry and have a whole different conversation, and somebody next to you won't have a clue what you're talking about. And I don't know why they have to have their own language, but I think every industry, profession, whatever you call it, has that.
Yeah, that's what we need here at the AML network is our own jargon.
There you go.
I don't think we have any jargon. We need some jargon. We have to get some jargon. Everybody put in some jargon. Put some jargon on the fans page. Okay, so we're going to probably publish this on, let me look at the big calendar on the wall. Today is, let me see here. Today is March 24th. We're going to listen to we're going to listen to Chris, and then it'll be you. So March the 26th. So that'll be Thursday, March the 26th. And you've been flying pretty much since this whole thing started.
I have.
And are you not, that seems to me to be pretty brave. I know.
No.
No?
No.
You're not concerned about getting the corona?
I'm not concerned for myself. I'm concerned for those that I might pass it on to, but I'm healthy. I mean, if I were to get it, it would probably be like a cold or an inconvenience or something mild, hopefully.
Right.
But we were asked to work if we could, and I'm okay with it, so I'm working.
Yeah.
And I've already been out and exposed. I was flying a lot. I had kind of a plan this year to work a little bit more than I have in the past. So I had already been out flying a lot in January, February, beginning of February. And then I knew I was in places that had already been determined hotspots.
Okay.
So I just opted not to go home. My daughter was having a birthday party for my grandson. And at that point I knew I had been in areas and I wasn't going to go around the rest of the family. My daughter's pregnant. She has a little guy. My parents are, I guess they're older, but they're not older. They are. My stepdad has had a stroke and he's a little weaker than, not going to go around them. I'm not going to take that risk.
Okay. So they're older, but they're not older. So like in my particular case, I'm 65. So basically what you're saying, I'm not that old.
Correct. Good one.
So the airline asked you, we don't even need, everybody knows who you work for, and we have to be very careful while we're talking about it because I think once you and I were talking and you said, they're always surveying social media to make sure none of their employees are saying anything derogatory or not acceptable about the airline. So we don't need to constantly go on about the airline because you're
it's fine though. We're not allowed to talk. We shouldn't talk. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but passengers as well. Like it's all, but no, it's fine. It's Southwest. It's all good.
Yeah, Southwest, and you like your job. You like being a Southwest flight attendant.
I do.
Yeah, you like it a lot. So, you like the whole experience. You like the adventure and the whole 9 yards.
It got thrown at me. It was not a plan. There are people that say, "Oh, I wanted to be a stewardess my whole life." That is not anything I ever wanted to do. But I stumbled into the position, and I jokingly say I'll never work for a living again because it is a dream job.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. And why is that? It would seem to me like it would be pretty kind of. See, I wouldn't last 10 rows. I'd get halfway down the plane and I'd be like, get away from me. I just wouldn't like. To me, it seems like it would be hard work, but it's not, eh?
No, it's physically. When I started, I've been doing it only 9 years. I think I'm in my 9th year, and prior to that, I was helping my mom on the farm a lot. I was working as a ground employee at the ticket counter. So my days were long and very laborious. And when I started this job, it was very difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that I felt like I didn't do anything all day and I was exhausted at the end of the day.
Okay.
But that is up and down and that altitude change and the pressurization that it is hard on your body, but a difficult job. No, I don't, it's not difficult to me.
Yeah. Because everybody that's met you, that's a big part of it. I mean, so many people, that's one of the things we like so much about the old AML community is everybody we meet, everybody seems to be so friendly with everybody. And I mean, you seem to be the same way. And it's the thing of it is you like people, so it's easy to deal with people. But it's got to be up and down. It's got to be hard out. It's just tiring, like you say.
Yeah, but I get used to it. I know I go to bed by 7 o'clock. If I'm up past 7, I'm a little bit of a panic mode.
7 o'clock,
Yeah,
like in in the evening.
yes, but my alarm goes off anywhere between 2:30 and 4 every day.
2:30 and 4.
Yes, but I'm a morning person anyway, so it works for me.
Like seriously, there is a 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I thought there was only. I always thought that the world just kind of went into blackness, and then there was only 1 4 every day.
And no, there are two. It's still black, but there are two.
All right, so let's get off talking about that. So that's really cool. I think it's very, very cool that you've chosen to. I think it's almost like being a necessary, doing a job that's necessary because the planes haven't got very many people on them, but they got to fly the planes around because there's people that need to move around the country. Some people are worried about their parents, and some people got to get home, and some people got to do jobs. They got to get jobs and this and that, and they need flight attendants to fly on the planes.
Correct.
And you're doing it. And you're doing it. Hats on AML. Hats off to you.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And you're not you. The word isn't that you're scared. You're cautious. You're doing all the things that they're telling you to do. You're trying to stay. You're not, trying not to interact with the people and stuff like that. But you're manning those planes because somebody's got to do it. And I bet you there's a lot of employees that are just as happy to be home. I bet you there's a lot of mums, young mothers and stuff like that are just as happy to be home with their kids.
Yes, and they're giving us that option.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Again, great company.
Yeah. So where do you call home?
Oh gosh, that's a good question.
Okay, hang on a minute.
I know.
Do you listen to a lot of the podcast, don't you?
I do, and I know you always only ask good questions.
Oh, okay. Some of the
sorry about that.
All right, okay. So where is home?
My mail goes to Ohio, so that's where I call home, Ohio. I grew up in that area, and I have relocated back there.
And is there a place in Ohio, or do you just kind of wander around the state, or
like Johnny Appleseed? No.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so this is where it gets really tricky. I think it's kind of like it's called, my mail, it's Bloomingdale, Ohio, but it's actually closer to Richmond. It's a farm. My mom owns a farm.
Well, that's cool.
So I live there.
Is it like, what's the biggest town you're near?
Steubenville, Ohio.
Steubenville, Ohio, which is the home of?
Dean Martin.
Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Correct.
Yeah, that's like Dean. I think personally, this is my own personal opinion. I don't expect people to agree with me or disagree with me. But over the years, I've started to think to myself, Dean Martin may be the greatest singer of all time.
Wow. I never really thought about it.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff. I love that song, Baby, It's Cold Outside. I love that song. And he sings it so effortlessly. And I started listening to more of his music. And then, of course, when Tony Cook and I go on road trips, all we're listening to is...
Are you serenading each other?
No, we're not serenading each other, but we're listening. We listen to Tony. We listen to Dino and Frank, and traveling with Tony is an experience that everybody should have. He is an unbelievably pleasant man to be around, and everybody on the planet should travel with Tony somewhere.
Well, I had the pleasure of having dinner with Tony.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that. Well, we'll get to that. All right. Okay. All right. Well, actually, tell us about it now. So on your trips, while you're flying around, how do you know where you're going?
Let's see. So, well, we're given a schedule. If you have enough everything's based on seniority. It's a union job. It's a contract. It's a union job. So people will understand that. So if every other month, I'm pretty much guaranteed a line or a schedule. So I know where I'm going. However, we can trade with the company or trade with other people. It is the most flexible job in the world.
Okay.
Like we have flight attendants that haven't flown for years and years and years and years and years.
Really? And there's still flight attendants?
And there's still, you do your recurrent training. We have no minimums and we have no maximums other than the FAA requirement that we take every 7th day off, essentially.
Okay.
So we can trade with the company. You can trade with other people. So I am still like, I decide my schedule based on the overnights. I'm still all about the overnights. Like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do on my overnight? So I try to get a long overnight, fly fewer legs, and have fun and enjoy it, and go out and see things and do things.
Okay.
And get paid to do it.
That'd be cool. I've always wanted to go to. Lately, I've been thinking I want to go to San Diego and see the big. What do they call it at Balboa Park? What do they call that railroad? I forget. That's the
San Diego Railroad model. It's down in the photography basement, and so many people don't even know it's there. And I try to drag everybody on my overnights, and they're like, "Yeah, no, thanks."
I want to see Balboa Park. I'm going to put that in. I'm working the Google in the internet machine, and I'm putting Model Railroad because we got to get the name right. It's the Balboa Park Model Train Museum, and it is the San Diego Model Railroad Museum, San Diego Model Railroad Club, San Diego Model Railroad. The San Diego Model Railroad Museum is a model railroad exhibit in San Diego, California, 27,000 square feet. It is the largest. Wow! It says it's the largest indoor exhibit in North America and one of the largest in the world. It's on the lower level of the Casa del Balboa building, or the Prado in Balboa Park. I should stop talking now because there's words I can't pronounce.
It's under the photography museum.
And it's under the photography museum, just like you said. So how many times do you think you've been there?
10.
Really?
Yeah, I go a lot.
Oh.
One reason it's from the hotel. When I walk, it's uphill the entire way. No matter which way you try to get there, it's uphill. So it's a good exercise walk, and I like it.
Yeah, well, we got to figure out why you're a big why you like model railroading so much. So how did we get off on that? We got talking about Dean Martin, and then we got onto that, and then I said, man, someday I'd like to go there. So okay, so you live you live outside. How far outside of Steubenville do you live?
Okay, I've listened to the podcast a lot. I'm not a big numbers person.
Okay,
10, 15 minutes.
All right. So, do you drive the speed limit? Do you observe the speed limit?
I do, because I get car sick even when I drive.
You get car sick?
Mm-hmm. So, I get motion sick easily.
Yeah. Okay. This is an interesting, fascinating fact. So, you love being a flight attendant, which is in long, big things. They're long tubes that go in the air and move a lot and bounce up and down. And you get motion sickness when you're in a car, driving a car. So are you constantly like barfing all over the passengers, or what?
My first day, I did. I broke every leg.
Really?
I did.
How long?
And I learned.
I was just going to say, how long did it take you to get over that?
By the next trip, I realized you have to sleep, drink lots of water, lots and lots of water, and don't overdo the caffeine.
Oh, yeah? Caffeine?
Correct. And ginger helps a lot, but not Dramamine.
Not Dramamine, because that makes you sleepy.
Yeah. That's a career-ending decision.
So then you'd be the sleepy flight attendant.
Yeah, that's not good.
You are goofy. All right. So it's 10 to 15 minutes to your farm. So do you grew up on this farm, or you grew up somewhere else, or what's the dealio?
I grew up in the suburbs, if that is such a thing. Outside of Steubenville, I grew up in Wintersville, a little town there.
All right.
Yeah.
And then your mom ended up on a farm.
She ended up on a farm when, Kevin and I used to live in Maryland before I worked for the airline. I lived in Baltimore. That would make sense, right?
Right.
And we would go home every weekend, long holiday, because the kids loved the farm. My mom was boarding horses. She couldn't get away. So we just ended up spending more and more time there. Then Southwest made Kevin is Kevin. And
Kevin is Kevin. Whoever Kevin is. If your name is Kevin, we're not speaking about Kevin Marks, are we?
No.
Okay.
So he worked for Southwest Airlines at the time. I was not working for the airline. So Southwest made the announcement that they started flying into Pittsburgh. So we're like, oh sweet, we'll sell the house, move back to Ohio, and then the kids can see grandma. We'll be home. I'll get a teaching job. It's the cost of living is easier. He had taken the job. It took us to Baltimore, but he was never in Baltimore. He was always on the road. So, and then life throws curveballs at you, and we both commute from the farm now.
Okay. So okay. And teaching, you used to be a teacher, did you?
I was a kindergarten teacher in third grade.
Oh, really? So how long did you do that?
5 years, 5 years in one school. And then I did long-term sub positions when I moved back to Ohio and could not get on a permanent teaching position because the attrition rate is just horrendous. It's not, the economy there is bad. So as teachers retire, they don't replace them. They generally shuffle people around and close buildings. And so anyway, I couldn't get a full-time job and I needed a full-time job. So I got on with Southwest at the ticket counter in Pittsburgh.
All right. And does all that, so how long have you actually worked for Southwest Airlines?
12 years? 12 or 13. Something like that.
And does that go towards your overall seniority for being a flight attendant, or is that separate, that 8 years as a flight attendant?
It's separate. Company-wise, like I still get 4 weeks vacation and I've been vested for a while and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think the first time Tracy Boyd, the official flight attendant of the AML network, made an appearance on the AML, somehow in the AML, as you talked about, you got a train set down from somewhere for somebody in your family, and then you ended up setting it up, and away you went from there.
And keeping it for myself.
Yeah, and you ended up keeping it for yourself. So, like, how are you interested in trains? Is it like your dad or something?
Well, they were my dad's trains, and we'd put it up under the Christmas tree when I was a kid, and I remember like the smell of it and the sounds. But it was in the basement, and we never got it out in between. My dad passed away when he was very young.
Oh,
and the
dear.
older I get, the younger he was.
Right.
So we never had the train out since we were kids. So I got it out to give to my nephew. My brother adopted a baby, and I got it to give to him. And he plays with it when he comes home, but he'll have it when he's an adult. If he wants it, he can have it. Of course. Of course. But I'll just hold on to it for him till then.
So then you ended up setting it up out on the farm somewhere.
Yeah, my mom, it was her. I just wanted to make sure it worked. I'm going to put it back in the box. And my mom said, let's put it on a sheet of plywood. And that was, I want to say, my brother adopted a baby in May. They got back to about July. So probably like midsummer. And by Christmas, I had 7 sheets of plywood in an entire village. I didn't work much that time. And I would put on my Carhartts and my winter coat because I was in the top of a barn. It wasn't heated or anything. And I would put my Carhartts on and my coats and go out there and work.
Your Carhartt.
Until I got it done.
Your Carhartts. Yeah. Carhartts are, for people that don't know, Carhartts is a very popular work clothing. CARHARTTS.
Yeah, there's a T in there too. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyways, it's a very popular kind of work clothing for people, and very popular with farmers and construction workers and all sorts of people. So you'd put on your Carhartts, and you'd go out into the barn and you'd work on this thing, and you ended up with 7 sheets of plywood.
Yeah. And I thought I was clever. I didn't know there was a whole industry that supported model railroad. In fact, I didn't even know what I was doing. I just wanted the train up, and I saw things and I was like, oh, I want that. That's cute. How do you do that? And I had some ideas that I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to do them. Like I wanted to model the farm, and I wanted to make, in the horse industry, there's where you stand in the middle and you put the horse on a lead and you make them run in circles. It's called lead line, or, lunging them. And I wanted to do that. And I wanted to put a little character on a motor, make the horse go around in circles. So I did that. And I would go to the hardware store and like talk to the people and explain to them what I was trying to do. And they thought I was crazy, but I ended up doing it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Absolutely, that's cool. So, okay, so is it still? Does it still exist?
Mm, no, sorry. I know I'm not supposed to drink, huh?
You can drink.
Well, it
Just
does in a way.
actually, you know what? If you're going to drink alcohol, you drinking wine or anything? Because that would be best. Because then the interview would just get more and more interesting as we went along.
Well, it is red wine.
Oh, okay. Is it? I'm not.
It's almost my bedtime, so that's
Oh,
legal.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. We're just hours away from your bedtime. It's actually
Right.
we're actually recording this at 2 right now. It is 2:52 p.m. So we're like dangerously close to when you're going to nod off to sleep.
Correct. So the layout is still there. However, as I got back to life, the layout was getting dirty and dusty. It was in the top of a barn. The horses didn't like it. The cats were getting all over it, raccoons occasionally. So I was trying to come up with an idea how to keep it covered when I wasn't there, but how to uncover it, that massive layout, by myself.
Right.
And my son was helping me come up with a pulley system, and we were doing the fabric on how much fabric I would need. And then we had a building on a property that we used just basically for storage. It was originally the summer kitchen for the house. The house was built in 1810. So it was originally the summer house. And we used it for storage for, like, in the wintertime, the porch furniture went in there. In the summertime, all the sport equipment went in there. So I ended up refurbishing that building and putting a sleeping loft in the top and making it, it's not air conditioned or heated or anything, but I put a space heater in there, and I do have a space, like a portable air conditioner, but there's no plumbing. And that's where my layout is now.
Okay. And so is it up permanently in this building?
It is. It is. And
Nope.
it's O scale.
It's O
For
scale.
toys. Yeah, it's Lionel. I switched to the Lionel Fast Track, but I don't like it at all.
Oh yeah, how come?
It's too restrictive.
What's it called? Lionel Fast Track?
It's called Fast Track, yeah. It's like the Atlas the stuff I have now, the N scale stuff. It's very similar to that.
Oh,
it just all snaps together.
That T-Track stuff?
Yes. The Unitrack it's called.
Unitrack, yeah.
And it has, it's all ballast. It's all plastic in it.
Oh, yeah.
Looks, yeah. And a funny side note is, I went to the ride the Grand Canyon Railroad this fall.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting. I was in the caboose looking backwards, watching, and Kevin was with me, and he made a comment. He said, "Wow," and it does look exactly like the Lionel Fast Track, the way it's balanced. And I was like, yeah, I didn't like it.
Kevin Marks?
No, Kevin Boyd.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I keep getting everybody's mixed
Kevin
up.
Boyd.
Okay. And okay, I see this Lionel Fast Tracks. All right, so you don't like that because it's too restrictive because it comes in short sections and you can only make it the way you want it.
Correct.
So is that what most of the layouts made out of those, this Lionel Fast Track? How much does it cost?
Oh, I don't, again, numbers.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. I don't know, $4 or $5 a piece, a chunk.
Well, that's not bad. But
Yeah.
how long is it? How long is a piece? Like a foot?
Correct. 10 inches, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's not cheap.
No. And then they have switches, and then they have longer sections, like a 3-foot section that I've used some pieces of it. And then I have a little an elevated section that I did have a trolley going on, and I used the old stuff. I had it kind of combined. And then at one point I wanted, you want layers and you want inclines, and I'm very restricted on space.
Right.
So I tried it all, and I'm back down to just one level.
Do you sit still ever, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Be interesting to see you someday. See if you actually do sit still. So okay. So it looks here like it's you get. Here's I found on Amazon. You can get 10 straight pieces. It's a 4-pack, so it's not really overly expensive. It's not hugely expensive.
I didn't think so.
No, it looks like this isn't very well written. This is Lionel Fast Track 10 straight track 4-pack, and then it's like $50. That sounds like a lot of track for $50. That doesn't sound right to me. Sounds like I'm screwing that up somehow. Okay, but roughly, it's not horribly expensive. it's reasonable and it comes all ballasted and everything. So blah, 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 blah. So how much of that layout is left now? Is that
Oh,
what state does it sit in now? It's been several levels. Now it's down to a single level.
it is all single level and it's all still there. When I did it in the top of the barn, I went with the tubular stuff, and I really liked that better. Like, I wish I'd never put any money into the fast track stuff. I should have just stuck with the tubular stuff. And I thought I was being all clever, and I was like, well, don't they need railroad ties underneath there? So then I would get balsa wood, and I chopped it all up on my overnights, and I dyed it with some stains, and put ties on there. So it made it look a little more realistic. And I guess back in the day they used to use kitty litter for ballast, and I did that because I was trying to be like green and not go out and buy stuff at the same time. I didn't know you could just go out and buy a jar of ballast.
Right, yeah. Sounds like you had a lot of fun with it, though.
Oh, I had a blast.
All right. So, what are your plans? What are your future plans for this layout? Are you going to start again? You going to keep going? What's the deal?
Well, I never go there anymore, so that's part of it's kind of tricky. It seems like for my profession and my lifestyle, it's really, the hobby doesn't, I don't know, lend itself to that.
Okay.
Because I'm never in one place ever.
So why don't you go? Why isn't Ohio home anymore? Did you get in a fight with your mom or something?
No. Well, the whole coronavirus, I haven't been home in a while.
Oh, okay.
And so when I do go home, and everybody thinks it's a holiday thing to have the train up and running. Right. So then there's always, you live on an old farm. There's always something to do. Yeah. Something needs fixed. And I do I have other hobbies. I have chickens and I garden and I like to golf and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And I need to work. I mean, I should work. And that's the problem when I go home. Then there's always more fun stuff to do than go back to work. And it's easy to just say, hey, somebody want to work for me? And you give your trip away. And the next thing you know, you're home for like 7 days. And then my son's like, hey, Mom, don't you think you need to go back to work?
What's your son's name?
Ben.
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 So eventually Ben's saying to Mom, hey, Mom, in the time you hit the road?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Generally, they like to know when I get home. They always ask me when I'm leaving. How long are you home for? They want an exit date. They're more comfortable with an exit date when I do go home.
So are you just like nasty when you're at home? It's like they can't wait to get rid of you?
Sometimes I am. Sometimes they think I am. Let's put it that way. Or I talk too much. I ask too many questions.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of quiet people.
Well, then
I like to chat.
Yeah, maybe they should be on a podcast or something because that's what you need. When you're doing a podcast, you need people that can talk.
Not from them.
Well, yeah, but if it's your son, how come your son isn't like you? I would think your son would be like you. You just not. Maybe you're just not giving him a chance to get a word in edgewise.
Well, no, I try. My mom's like that with horses, though. She could talk all day to somebody about horses.
Okay, and so this is a horse farm.
Correct.
Oh, you're drinking more wine there. Are you? How many glasses?
No, that was water. That was actually water.
Okay. You're not one of these people that you got to drink 3 sips of wine and 1 sip of water. That would be like what Kevin Marks would say. Hard part. That'd be hard parties. I think hard part was trying to load me up on that. There, someplace we were talking. Maybe it might have been on the Let's Hug It Out thing. And he started telling me you got to have every time you have a beer, you got to have a glass of water. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
Give me a break.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah.
Well, if you ever go anywhere with me, I'm like, there ain't no water in between beer. I'm just like, I'll just keep them coming because it's easy. I can't keep track of that stuff. It's like, just give me, that's why I said to Kevin, I said, I ain't keeping track of it. Just give me the beer for crying out loud. It's like, come on. How do you figure, so I've always wanted, this has become a new mantra of mine. I would love to be dapper like Kevin for like 5 minutes in my life.
He is very dapper.
He's very dapper, and I'm very dusty. He's dapper, and I'm dusty.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with that.
Exactly. I'm dusty. Okay. So then I saw you at Springfield, and we went to the hockey game and all that, and I said, what were you buying at Springfield?
N scale.
N scale?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, because I thought I wanted to do a little switching thing. I thought it would be kind of fun to do something at my crash pad because sometimes when I have days off, I stay there. You know, there's the B&O Railroad Museum. My grandson lives within driving time. There's all kind of things to do, and I have friends there and all kind of things to do. So I thought it would be fun because I miss playing with my trains at the farm to do an N scale, something different, and do just something switching. I've seen this thing, and I think the guy, it's not Ellison. I cannot think of his name, but he's from England, and it's where he did this. I'm talking with my hands. Sorry.
Okay.
He came up with this switching game kind of thing where you put cards, like letters on these cards, and then you have to switch the cards all around. I thought it'd be fun just to learn that because I am not an operational person at all.
Right.
And so I thought it would be fun to learn to do that. And I'm kind of the organizer with the family. So I thought, oh, next time everybody comes home, we could all play train games, like do that kind of thing. So I thought I would learn how to do that. Anyway, I ended up not doing that and getting into the T track, and I built a table I for my crash pad, and it's a loop and it's bigger than I want, and now it just sits there, stares me in the face, and I painted furniture and it looks all nice and everything's organized. And it's N scale is so fascinating because it's so tiny and cool, but it's so intimidating. One of the first times I was running my train, Kaylee knows what happens. My train went whee, onto the floor. They're just too tiny.
Okay. And let's back. What is a crash pad?
That's a house for airline employees. Everybody rents either you can rent a bed. Okay, let's go. You can rent a hot bed. You can rent a bed. You can rent a room. That's how it goes.
You can rent a hot bed?
A hotbed is where you change the sheets and you have your own set of sheets, and when you're there, you sleep on your sheets, and then when you're not there, you put your sheets in a specific designated area, and then somebody else can come in and sleep in the same bed.
Oh.
So yeah. We've never had that in our house. We just have, you can rent a bed or you can rent a room or you can share a room.
Oh, and how does that happen?
Well, you have to be an airline employee.
Okay.
And then you just find somebody running a crash pad and has availability.
Yeah,
and then a lot of times, like I've been at the same house since I've been there, and I've woken up in the middle of the night and going to use the restroom, or it's like there's somebody sitting on the couch and you go, oh hey, I'm Tracy, I'm a flight attendant, and they're like, oh so and so, and yeah,
right.
So people come and go.
Yeah, it sounds a bit too much too adult for me. I don't think that's anything I do.
Well, sometimes they're not quite adult. That's a whole nother pocket. It's really a rather interesting lifestyle.
Yeah, it would be. Well, it does sound like an interesting lifestyle. That's why I thought it'd be cool. You'd be a cool person to talk to because we're always mentioning Tracy Boyd, the official flight attendant of the AML network, whenever you post. And you post some really cool pictures lately. So I thought you'd be a perfect person to talk to because people like to hear about you. So, okay. So now you got this, and it turns out I was right because so far we've killed 40 minutes and I don't think we've even scratched the surface of every subject we have to talk about. But we're going to stop soon. Okay. So you're in a crash pad, and is it all Southwest employees or is it employees of all different airlines?
Currently, we are all Southwest Airlines employees, but we have all different positions in the crash pad, not just flight attendants, not just air people. Yeah. We have ramp people. Kevin Boyd lives there. He works for a different department. He's in the ground maintenance department. We have ramp people and all flight attendants. The rest are flight attendants.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. So now you've built this N scale. You built the bench work and everything.
I did.
So how did you learn all these skills? For not that you shouldn't have learned these skills, but how did you learn these skills for building stuff?
YouTube and my brother, and working on the farm.
Yeah, and I think you like working on the farm, don't you?
I do. I have to say construction is my favorite because I renovated this whole building to put my trains back up and took it down to the studs on 2 walls and rebuilt it all. Hung drywall, put new windows in, the whole 9 yards, and then put stuff on the outside, new whatever you call that stuff. I put hardy board planks up.
You did that by yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I initiated it and yes.
Wow. Good
I mean,
you.
I had help, but I didn't hire it out, put it that way.
Okay. Help as in his name is Ben?
No, he did. He helped, and Kevin.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Like
And
he helped the drywall in the loft because I couldn't hold that up.
right.
But I know how to mud drywall, and I put insulation in, and I don't know how to wire.
No,
Electricity is not my thing.
wiring's hard. It's
Other
hard.
than that, yeah.
Wiring's hard for some people. Okay, so now this what do we call it? N track or something?
It's called T-track, but it's N scale.
So are you happy with what you've done or what?
Nope, not at all. Don't like it. Spend oodles and oodles of money, so I help the economy and I help the trade world.
So
But no,
what don't you like about it?
it's too tiny. It's way, way, way too tiny.
Just for doing any kind of operation and stuff.
Yeah, and actually constructing anything or doing anything. It's cool to watch and listen to,
Right?
but I'm just not. And I'm one of those people that I have to learn from my own mistakes. And so investing all that money into the N scale stuff, it's like, yeah. And I had a partner doing this. Kevin was there with me doing it, and he really wanted one thing. And I'm a team player, so I went with it. And I didn't want a loop. I just wanted a teeny tiny space so I could play with the trains. And I wanted and it's kind of massive.
Oh, it's massive.
For me, it's massive. For me, I mean, when you have one bedroom,
yeah,
it's pretty big.
So what do you think is going to happen next then?
Maybe dismantle it. And one of the times that I end up having to drive home, take it all home to the farm and incorporate it into my O scale. So it's kind of something like in the forced perspective, something cute off in the distance. Because I'm into cute, and that's what I like, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, cute people are into cute things. I think that's a common thread. So do you think you'd do HO, or do you think you'll go back to O scale, or what?
I really, really, really like O scale, and I like the animation, and I like the basicness of the motors. Like you can get it to work. I spent weeks trying to learn Arduino because I thought, oh, here's another thing I can do with the crash pad. And I ordered an Arduino kit, and I have a laptop that I can play with at the crash pad that I could, and yeah, it's just not me.
The Arduino thing is not you?
Correct. And so far that I could get into, I could make the lights flash, and it's really helpful with signaling. But again, that's that whole operational thing where it's really technical, and I'm just not there yet. I find it fascinating, but it's not something I can accomplish on my own.
Okay. So
and then I get frustrated.
Right. And then nothing happens.
Correct. So then I just chuck it all, get on the light rail, and get down to the B&O Railroad Museum and chat with people.
So you like railroad, you like trains, you just got to find your niche then.
It's the O scale. And by trying everything else, then I realize it's the O scale that I like.
Have you ever thought of building like a 2-foot by 10-foot O scale switching layout?
No, but I've heard you mention that, and I'm just like,
That's what I
10
think.
foot.
Yeah, like if I was to build any kind of if I was to do some modeling right now, I would build like a 2-foot by 10-foot O scale switching layout, and there wouldn't be a lot you can do in that, but you could do a lot of detail. You could do a lot of, you could have a bit of switching. You'd have 1 or 2 locomotives, some cars. For me personally, it'd be right up my alley because I like to build a scene, a very detailed scene. So maybe that's what you need to do is try doing like 2 feet by 10-foot self layout, and then you can have it the way you want it, and everybody can keep their fingers off it, and you could learn all kinds of stuff.
And the problem is I ask people's opinion and second guess myself instead of just doing what I want to do. I go, hey, what do you think of this? And they go, oh, and then I kind of go that way. And it's like, yeah, it's not really what I wanted. But it's not until after it's done that I go, oh, that's not really what I wanted.
Yeah, I know. It's like if you, I don't know, if you were to meet somebody and you were thinking, they're pretty nice. And then you were like, kind of waffling back and forth about how much time you should spend with them and stuff like that. I understand. That happens to me occasionally too. Moving right along, let's not pass over. You said you have a grandson?
I do. Well, I have several grandsons
Right.
because I have a stepdaughter, and she's got 5 kids.
Holy mackerel.
The oldest is 8.
Really? She's
Yeah.
got 5 kids between the ages of 0 and 8 or 1 and 8 or
0 and 8 at this point. Yeah, and they're adorable, but I just don't get to see them much. And then my daughter has 1 son at the moment.
Okay, and his name is?
His name is River.
Like as in stream?
Yeah, a bigger stream. River, yes.
How did she come up with that name?
I don't know. She's always been different. I said difficult.
What'd you say, difficult?
No, my kids were just nothing but joy and love raising them the whole time.
So you got a son, Ben, and a daughter, Ashley. Is that what you said?
I do, and a stepdaughter, Tracy, and older stepdaughter, Jamie. But I raised Tracy, Ben, and Ashley lived with me. They all grew up under my rules.
So Tracy had a mom named Tracy.
Correct.
And is it are they both spelled the same way?
No, she's IE, but we call her LT because she was little Tracy. And she reminds me to this day, I was Tracy Boyd before you were Tracy Boyd.
And your name is spelled with a Y.
Correct.
All right. What's your middle name?
Lynn.
No, there you go. Okay, so tell us about. So, did you think River is interested in trains at all?
River is fascinated by trains. And my daughter, she's not quite sure whether it's just a coincidence or it's because of me, but he's fascinated by trains. He always has a train in his hand.
Really?
Always. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how old is he exactly?
2 in a couple weeks.
2 in a couple of weeks. Okay, so he just had a birthday.
He did.
Oh, that's right. At the start of this,
I missed it.
Yes.
I know. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Because you were flying around helping people that needed to get back and forth.
Well, I quarantined myself and I did not go to his party.
Well, that's
because I didn't want to make anybody else sick.
Well, that's a good thing to do. I think everybody's a little more worked up about this than they need to be, but I think you did the right thing. I think you made the right decision because the last thing you would want to do is maybe have been on a plane and somehow got contagious and then given it to your little 2-year-old grandson.
I'm pretty sure I can give it to anybody. I'm pretty sure I'm one of those carriers. Can I sidetrack and tell you the funny, hysterical story that I saw the other day?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm in Midway, and there's always, in every airport that I go in now, there's way more crew than there are passengers. But there's a family, and they had, I don't know, a little toddler, a little guy, like maybe 4 or 5, and a baby and a carrier. And they were all busy doing their thing, getting off the moving walkway. And the little guy that was like 4 or 5 had already gotten off the walkway, and he was standing at the end. He's so cute, he had these little glasses on, and his tongue stuck right to the handrail. So as it circles under, that handrail that you hold on to that just is a big loop of rubber, right. Yeah. His tongue was just like lap, 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 lap. I couldn't get my phone out fast enough to take his picture, but it was hilarious.
The Midway is in Chicago.
It is.
All right. So, okay. So when you see River, what kind of train things are you doing with him?
We watch train videos, and I bought him an Atlas Train Kid set, which he broke just like I broke mine. But I got it fixed. And so now I put it in a little box. And so when I go visit him, I take it, we play with it, and then I take it home so that he can't break it anymore. But it's pretty sturdy. And the box says 4 and up, and he wasn't quite 2. But he loves to hold them and operate them. And
so what videos do you watch?
Mike Armstrong.
And how come I haven't heard of Mike Armstrong?
I don't know. They're just trains. They're simple trains. He does a lot of the California trains.
Okay.
But he does travel all over the country. And the train is coming, the train goes past you, and then the train goes away. And you can hear it coming because he gets all excited. He goes, here, because he's 2-ish. Right. And he was like, here it comes. And we get all excited, but he would sit and just literally watch that. Like, it's not it's not an animation. There's no narration, nothing, just trains. Loves them.
Oh yeah. I think I was somehow you mentioned them before. He's got 5. It's actually Coaster Fan 2105.
Yes.
coaster, as in like you put your beer on a coaster, or your drink on or your glass of wine on a coaster,
Or you ride a roller coaster.
or
I
you
don't
ride a
know.
roller coaster. So it's coaster fan 2105, and they are. I'm looking at one now. They are cool. They just come into the scene, and it's the train going by, and then they're very cool. They're really.
Very well done.
And how did you find these? Do you think?
I typed in YouTube train videos when I had him. I was driving back to Ohio. I was taking him home with me one time, and I needed to entertain him in the car,
Okay.
and it worked.
And did your daughter know that you took them?
She did. She did.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Because you wouldn't want to get, you wouldn't want to be going down the
Oh,
high.
not from her. Nope. She's
Well,
tough.
oh, okay. Is she tough like you? Are you tough?
No, not like her.
Oh, okay, so she's tough.
She's very tough.
So I bet I had a sense that you were like everybody else. You thought this was going to be really hard to do. You were
I
like,
did.
you did, and we've been talking for 52 minutes. And how hard was that?
Not difficult at all.
No, it wasn't difficult at all. And now you've cheered up people because they've had an opportunity to listen and hear all your stories, which were all very, very interesting.
I'm gonna go if you say so.
Yeah, trust me. I've interviewed enough people. That's one thing I can say. I had no experience when I started this. I had no grand plan. I had no idea why I was doing it, other than I thought, hey, this would be cool. And then I could hear the sound of my own voice. And if I've learned anything over 5.5 years, if people speak up and they got interesting stories, they'll be interesting to listen to. And your stories were interesting, and it's very, very cool. And you're gonna like listening to this. You're like Chris Adams. Chris is he just plug him in and let him go. And like Dave Abelys. Now that's where we have to get you. How far?
Oh,
Yeah.
he was awesome listening to.
I know everybody listening to Dave, and they're going to like listening to you too. But that's where we have to get you to is some operating, like a real operation session. I think you would love that. You would.
I agree. I do go to meetings when I used to be at home more often, and now I wouldn't dare go anywhere near those people right now, but because they're also kids laying there. But at home, there's a group of people that I've kind of befriended, and they've welcomed me in, and they invite me every week tell me where the meetings are at, and it's pretty cool.
And who are these guys? Are they? Is it a secret society? You can't tell us, or?
No, it's the Ohio. It's the They call themselves the Ornery Bunch, the Ohio River Northern Rail Group or something like that.
Right.
And they've been around for years and years and years and years and years. But anyway, yeah. So they welcome me in, and they do operating sessions, but they meet each week at somebody else's layout, and they all work on each other's layouts and stuff. But they've been very, very, very welcoming.
And how'd you find them?
One of the gentlemen, his layout, he decided to make public during the holidays. And so I had friends that all knew I liked trains and messaged me and let me know about this. And they went ahead of me and told everybody that was there volunteering that, oh, my friend's really into trains. She's coming in. And being a girl in the trains, it's there are more and more of them, but they're not commonplace. Let's put it that way. And so when I came in and I was talking and asking questions, they kind of picked me out of the crowd. Oh, are you the flight attendant? I was like, actually, and they called me a stewardess too as well. But anyway, and so then they told me about their club, and they're part of the NMRA. And so they said, oh, join, but you don't have to join. And so then they just told me when their meetings are. And it took me, I would say, almost a year before I was actually in town on a Wednesday and didn't have to get up at 3 a.m. the next day to fly out. And I just showed up, and ever since then, every time I go, and then they tell me, so they keep me posted on where their meetings are.
And do they do operations on these layouts?
They do sometimes, yes.
And yes. Have you had the opportunity to take part in any of these operations?
No.
Huh. But that's what we need to do. We need to make it a priority to find a layout for you to operate on, because you would love it. You would be your enthusiasm would be perfect. I need to get David. How far would you be from? How long would it take you to get to New York City?
An hour.
Really? Is that all it is?
Yeah. Baltimore and LaGuardia.
Oh yeah, you fly.
Yeah.
You fly everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, I can drive, but yeah, no.
But you get car sick.
I do, and I don't have the patience to sit in my car for that long. I'm not a very good passenger.
You're not a very good passenger.
No.
Are you good at anything?
No.
Don't say that. Okay, so all right. So what we need to do is I'm going to get you, because he has operating sessions on Saturdays. I'm going to get you an invite to Dave Abley's house, because he's the perfect guy for you to go operate on his layout. Because because he's a very pleasant man, and next on I think the next Monday interview is Rich Winiski, who is one of his operators. And these guys, and it's fairly simple operation, so it's basically just don't be a screw up. So you can do that. If you can be a flight attendant in these days of turmoil, you can do anything without being a screw up. Come on. Seriously.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, you must be. There's got to be a lot of rules to being a flight attendant.
Oh, there are, but I'm a good rule follower.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine you are. Actually, I can't imagine that. Let's be completely honest with you. I can't imagine that at all. But I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. Yeah. So that's it. We got to find you because you're gonna love that part of the hobby. You would absolutely love that, and he'd be perfect. And there's got to be people around Baltimore that would be welcoming, because these guys in Ohio sound like they're great.
They are. They really, really are.
And then we got to get you working on a 2-foot by 10-foot O scale layout where you can do all kinds of stuff and just enjoy the build. I think is this a fair statement? I think this might be a fair statement for you. Do you feel like you would enjoy just the building and creating of a scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or did I cut you off there?
No more than usual.
Sorry.
No, or
was there an or to that question?
Yes. No, I said when you like building the scene, and then you said, did I cut you off because you were gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I said yes, I would enjoy that.
What about building structures? Have you tried building structures?
Actually, I have not. I've gotten kits, and I've modified structures, which is called kit bashing.
Right.
Like, who knew that? Like, yeah, I just do things on my own. Like, here's this is a good example. Like, I wanted this trolley in Steubenville and Pittsburgh. Everything's on the side of a hill, and they put in the steps in the city of Pittsburgh after, like, they put in staircases before they had roads, because they needed people to work at the bottom in the mills and walk home, and they didn't have time to put in roads. So I was trying to figure out how I can make this trolley on the side of a cliff, and I was building all these staircases. And the next thing I know, the next month out, I pick up a magazine, and there's this whole article about how this guy built this trolley with these staircases. It's like, where was this a month ago?
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's I think everybody runs into that, where they discover something they wanted to do. And I mean, the hobby's been the hobby is going to grow like, here, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. Because I would have to say probably you're fairly new to the hobby. You've always been interested in trains because you're your dad, and you've always had that in the back of your mind. But as you've gone around and you've become more and more involved in the hobby and bought stuff you don't want anymore,
it's not that I don't want it. It's not for me. I'm not doing it justice, put it that way.
Okay. Do you think, and you've been to Springfield a couple of times. How did you find out about Springfield?
Listening to you.
Really?
I just thought it was the place to be at the end of last of January. That's where you need to be.
Yeah, it is where you need to be. How did you find the podcast?
Trying to find out how to, like, what am I doing here? Like, I need to learn how to model trains and how to put these layouts together. So I thought that's what I was doing.
Okay. And
but then it was just pleasant to listen to, and hysterical. And I would just stay outside all night long listening to you all chit chat. And I felt like I knew you all.
Well, and now you do. You know lots of us.
I do. And that's the super fun part about it.
It is the super fun part about it is, and that's why we're talking to you, because you're out there right now flying around during this panic-stricken time, and you're doing your part to help humanity move forward, which as much as I know you, I know you don't like taking compliments particularly well. And let me tell you something. Everybody that's listening to this thing right now thinks you're doing an awesome thing by being out there and looking after people. I think that is just the coolest thing that you're doing. And you're doing, I understand you're doing it because you don't want to be near your grandson or your mom, and your mom's husband isn't particularly well, is he?
Well, yeah, it's kind of tricky. He's had a stroke 24 years ago.
Right.
So, and he's getting older. He's fragile. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be, yeah. No.
Yeah, you feel conscientious about not getting near him. So you trust me. Everybody is very, do they have trouble finding crews to fly these planes?
Oh, not at the moment. No, I don't think so. Not at the moment. Let's knock on wood. They're reducing our schedule, and they're working through all the logistics of it, and they're asking us to be super flexible. And if we're healthy enough to work and can work, come to work. Some trips pay more than others. You know, if they have to offer us overtime to get more people to work, then they do. But, you know, they're trying to make money too, or save their butts at this point.
Yeah, and let's not just talk about Tracy. Let's just I'm sure you'd like to give out a shout out to all the people at Southwest that are working hard to keep these planes going.
Yeah, crew scheduling. I wouldn't want their job, or crew planning right now. Figuring all that out.
Yeah.
Because I think there's like 12,000 flight attendants, and there's a handful of people that do all the planning.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. And they're doing a fabulous job keeping us informed, and every time there's a change, and yeah.
Wow. I can't get over how well I think phones have improved or something, because we're doing this. I'm using my, how do I sound, by the way?
Fabulous, of course.
Oh, good. Well, I'm using my regular microphone, but Tracy's just on her phone and it's working perfectly. You're going to love this. When you listen to this, people are going to love this. I want everybody to write on when we post this, I want everybody that enjoys this, take the time out of your day and post something on the fans page, because it's going to make Tracy feel better, and it's going to prove to her that she's got lots to say and lots to add. So, because trust me, this is, people are going to enjoy this a lot. Just like they enjoy listening to Chris and Tony. What's your favorite part of the podcast?
The people.
Okay.
Listening to everybody. You feel like when you listen to people, you feel like you know them.
Yeah.
Is that an okay answer? Is that what you're looking for?
No, I'm not looking for anything. Actually, I'm fascinated by the whole experience from my side of it, because from my side of it, I don't think I'm doing anything other than just being a goofball. And it seems to be mean so much to people. So I just like asking people what it is about the podcast they like, so that I can carry on and do it. And
definitely the people.
Yeah, I think so, eh?
Yes.
And it's going to be a bummer if we don't get to do Tom Stock this year. That is going to be like a total bummer. But it is what it is. There's nothing. We all have to be adults when we have to be adults. I've been watching, since we talked about these Mike Armstrong videos, I've been watching it in the background. And it's one about the South Shore Line in Chicago, Illinois. And,
I haven't seen that one.
And these are fabulous videos. They are absolutely fabulous videos. Way to go, Mike. We got to get this guy on somehow. I got to find this guy. There, I kind of burped. And before I would have edited that out, but there's no time for that right now.
I missed it.
This is emergency podcasting. That's what this is. This is emergency podcasting.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, to give people something to listen to while they're doing whatever they're doing, while Tom's out in the barn, or Chris is down working on his layout, or whatever, or you're on your... Do you listen to these on the plane, or when you're waiting for the plane, or what?
When I'm waiting for the plane on my overnight. No, I do not put earbuds in when I'm on the plane, unless I'm deadheading. And we're doing a lot of deadheading right now, because they need to reposition us where they need us.
Right.
So deadheading means that you are getting paid to work, but you're just riding as a passenger. So then, yes, I do. So because I did listen to one and it was a good thing the plane was kind of empty because the hug it out thing. I was on the plane laughing.
That's cool. All right, we got to get you on hugging out too then, but you'll be sleeping.
Well, if it's an off day, I could take a nap.
There you go. All right. I think we just, you know what? We got to stop. It's been an hour and 6 minutes. We got to stop. So we have an email account. We do have an email account. It's modeler'slife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L, like train, this one L, like what do I always say? Railroad, not two L's like Lionel. We have our website. It's amodelerslife.com. And if you go there, I don't think, actually, I know the picture I'm going to use for years, but I don't think all of these quickies are going to have pictures. So, but I think I'm going to use that really cool picture you posted the other day. Is it okay if I use that picture with from the wing of the Southwest plane?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. I don't want to get you in trouble or nothing.
No.
Well, I know, but I just got to make sure. And don't be yelling at me right here at the end of the podcast.
I'll let you know if it gets me in trouble.
And okay, so are you ready for the end?
Yeah.
Yeah? You sure?
No.
Okay. I'm going to start any second here now.
Okay.
All right. So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
Southwest flight attendants.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of a Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.